What is up, friends? Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Football Sis. We're excited to obviously dive in with your favorite sister duo into another fantasy football week as we drive closer and closer to the playoffs. Shit's getting serious, friends, so buckle in as we dive into our Week 12 fantasy matchups. We can't wait to do it. But before we obviously dive into the good stuff, Ange, give me a little, how was the week? How'd the fantasy week shake out for you?
Fantasy week was okay. I've been riding pretty steady and high in our Superflex league, and I dropped.
I kicked your ass this week.
Picking their nose.
I forgot picking your nose. And you know who helped is Pickens himself. He picked your nose because
he did.
Homie went off.
Exactly. I knew I was going into last night losing anyway, so it didn't even matter. It wasn't even like, oh, maybe if Pickens doesn't have a good game, but
hey, you never know. My life sucks sometimes.
Well, that's how I felt because it was just like an abysmal week of top players scoring like nothing. Like, come on, Amon-Ra. Like, come on, right? Like, we'll talk about the Jamar Chase fiasco at another moment in the show, but there were just underperformers when I needed them to perform. And then in the other league, I did well. So guys who I didn't think were going to play well for me kind of stepped it up there. So it is what it is.
It is what it is.
I feel you. Scared to lose in fantasy football because it's going to happen.
I know. I say that all the time. I think sometimes we get scared of and then almost I see a lot of women play almost too scared. And then it ends. I'm like, listen, just take your shot. Play your guys. Play the guys who you are typically going to perform well. And every now and then you're going to get an Amon-Ra who just doesn't get targeted. They have a shitty offensive showing. And don't take it personally on those guys. Like even someone like Drake May, he's the number one quarterback on the year. He just had a midweek and it's going to happen. And you kind of just got to ride with it. But don't you dare think about sitting some of those dudes because you'll be mad. Trust me.
It'll come by you. How about your fantasy week? What was yours?
I took home all 3 wins. I know I beat you, but I didn't even realize I was playing you until deep into after Thursday night. I was like, oh, I'm playing Edge. And also I played against Josh Allen who dropped 44 points on my ass. I was like,
I know. Because that was my little glimmer of hope. Okay, all right, Ange, let's go. No, nothing. Big Josh getting 6 tutties.
Oh my God. I literally looked and I was like, well, I'm playing against him, so my life is over. And then I played Davis I played Mills.
I saw you pick up Mills, I was like, oh man, she desperate. But
she was desperate for quarterbacks this week. I was like, fuck it, I'm just throwing Mills in. Let's see what happens. They both my quarterbacks came out with 16 points for me. I was like, you guys rock. I love you.
That's all you need.
But I did take wins in all 3 of my leagues, which, it's always funny to notice your substantial mood uptick when you win in fantasy football because I am a miserable human when I'm so mean.
I think we naturally, as Mulaski sisters, that's our maiden name, but we are so empathetic and when someone's not doing good, we're taking it to heart oh, why did I pick him? Or this what goes through my head. I see Sean Tucker, let's say. I saw him there. I was it went through my head. Maybe I grab him. I need a running back. Oh, I'll just try. Every time I'm I knew it. I should have got him. It probably happens to every woman out there. It's probably just
intuition.
Yes, the intuition. Correct.
It's an intuition, trust the gut moment.
Yes.
No, I love it. How about when we were watching Monday Night Football last night and I was half-ass in the kitchen. I think it was finishing up dinner or cleaning up dinner or something. And I heard my husband likes to watch the Peyton Manning brothers broadcast. And I personally I'm not a gigantic fan because I like the play-by-play. Their brotherly dynamic is very sisterly dynamic of us, which is fun. Nonetheless, I'm can you please turn on a different broadcast? I'm half paying attention. I want to hear the game so I can hear stats and look up when I need to look up. But I heard them mention the first play of the game, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens were on the sideline. And I was what the fuck? I got the biggest giggle out of that because first of all, as a head coach, you're not playing your top 2 players on the first, they went 3 and out. I was that's not setting it. I'm sorry. Just find those motherfuckers. But then it just looked like two brothers who got in trouble. They're just they were okay, sorry guys. And then they crushed it. But I was just I thought they were fighting or something. I was they've had great dynamic all year. It cannot possibly be an argument. I am dying to know what they did to deserve that though.
Yeah, I know. To put the little slap on the wrist, no, you don't get to sit in the first drive. Bad boys, right?
Bad boys. I know. I was it's freaking ridiculous. And then we've got to talk about the elephant in the room. Jamar
Oh
he
my God.
spat on a man.
And then his dumbass tried to say, no, I didn't. I didn't do it.
No, I didn't
do it. Jamar Chase.
You know what? I was sitting here.
We've talked about freaking diva wide receivers all season.
And I'm sorry, all these motherfucking men want to say women are too emotional. Baby, you spit on someone. I'm not emotional. You are. Please.
And this is like Spitgate, because this is the second spit we've seen this year. The second spit.
I'm like, why are we looking at men? Like, let's not.
Like, I even think it's ridiculous when they get in these fights. Like, just brush it off. Go tackle him on the next play. You're good. You're golden.
I would love to say, though, I would love to say that I could be that zen, but like,
true.
I'm kind of fiery. And like, we played pickleball for fuck's sake this past weekend, and my husband was beating me, and I was like, go, I'm going to beat you. I was like so aggressive for it's pickleball. Like, it's not that deep, but
because I played so much golf, I'm a little bit more zen in my brain because you can't snap off like that. But I don't know. I think if I was playing a more physical sport.
Yes. I could never play a contact sport. Like, I would be unfortunate. Yes. I wouldn't be. I would be very verbal and lippy and then just hope no one hit me because sorry about it. Sorry about it. All right. The only other thing I want to talk about is I feel like we've been having like a running total of ugly ass jerseys throughout this year. God. Right? We had Pooh Bear, the Steelers Pooh Bear weighted nest situation. We had the like Banana-Rama gate. Like, it was just like Justin Herbert in all yellow was unfortunate. I personally, we didn't talk about it, but like the weird fake leather hat, like helmets from the Green Bay Packers.
It looked like they were like, let's print this sticker and stick it on these helmets.
It looked, yes. I personally, I think that's why Tucker Kraft got hurt, okay? Because you put him in the ugliest helmet ever. So sorry. Maybe we should. I got to get off this field right now.
I'm
embarrassed to be here. Sorry. Yeah. And then I personally fucking hated the Rams jerseys. The weird, like, black and yellow and blue sleeves.
I didn't hate them. I didn't hate them.
I literally was like, what the fuck is that? Like, we couldn't have done any better. Now, the Patriots uniforms, I thought they were like top-notch alternate uniforms.
Those were cool. I did like those too.
Yeah. I agree. But now it's just like a running joke of like who's going to have ugly jerseys week to week and who's going to take home the ugly jersey trophy because apparently there's just bad decisions being made by the NFL here.
Well, I'm here for it. So tune in
fun
to
talk about.
For sure.
Fun to talk about. All right, let's go into some play of the week. So who was your play of the week? And I feel like I knew yours. I know I see the show notes, but I knew it before you even wrote it down.
Yes. And I couldn't wait because I had a feeling if I didn't get it, that it might be yours.
Yeah.
Because
I put it in my game recap notes, not in the show notes.
So mine, it was not a touchdown. It wasn't anything like that. It was just Darnell Washington being a manimal. He is a 300-pound, 6'7" tight end. Like that, no tight end is supposed to, and I didn't even mention this one, like hurdle over someone and like karate chop him in the air and stay on their feet. Then he stiff-armed a guy down, shook another defender off, and then basically stared down the last guy and was like, mess with me again. I love Darnell Washington.
I know. When we saw him like at the game, I'm like, that is the largest man I have ever witnessed. How do you play NFL football as a tight end? You have to have a lot of mobility and you're huge.
But he was also so relevant in like the blocking. Like he was like, and they use him like that clearly because he's a giant.
I agree.
Darnell Washington. Love him.
Love him. Well, my play of the week was very different because it was just poetic justice, okay? So Will Lutz kicked the game-winning field goal to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And if you guys didn't know, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs hater, okay? I'm not a fan. They are not an organization I love. They've also made questionable decisions. They have men on their team who say questionable shit out loud. That should have probably just been inside thoughts. My opinion, okay? Not a Chiefs fan. I stand by that. And Will Lutz kicked the game-winning field goal and beat the Kansas City Chiefs, basically taking them out of the position to like get home field advantage for the playoffs, which I'm just like, if you want to get in, go wild card. So let's see you do it. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Denver Broncos the last time they matched up. So it was just chef's kiss, the perfect way for me. Like Sunday, I was geeked. I was like, there we go. That needed to happen. I needed to see the Chiefs get like a losing record, and it just is what it is.
Yelling. Take that, Patty. Take that, Patty.
I was like team Denver Broncos all day.
I think everyone was. And I always equate it to like the hate that I used to have for like the Patriots because they were always in the playoffs. They were always winning. And then you were like, okay, this isn't even fun anymore. Yeah, now I feel like this year there's these obscure teams beating teams. Like even I like the Bills. I like Josh Allen, but it was fun to see him get beat and like just, I mean, by the booty hole Dolphins, but it was fun. It keeps it fun.
I know. I agree. All right. Give me your vet of the week. Who takes home the vet of the week for you?
Oh, I can't wait for this one. My vet of the week goes to Jacoby the Donk. I'm naming him the Donk.
The donk. He's got a donk, babe. What are you going to do?
So I was like not really paying attention. Well, that was a later game. It was a later game. I don't know when it was. And I just get this text from, no, it wasn't even a text. It was even better. It was like mid note taking when sometimes I catch where Amanda's at in the notes. And then I type like, hey, or like start Ange, big Ange here, whatever. Anyways. So she said he dropped like, 47 passes. So he threw for 57 times he threw the ball. He connected 47 of those times. He set a single game, not just Arizona Cardinals record, NFL record for completions in a single game. 452 yards, did not mess around. I'm a Jacoby fan. I'm all day Jacoby Brissett backer right here.
You know what the unfortunate part is he like only had like what? How many fantasy points did he have? Like much less than I had anticipated him having too.
Well,
I was like,
there were some interceptions. So homeboy, likes to take some chances.
You got to. It might, but that's what quarterbacks are like though. Take some freaking shots, right?
I do too.
Well, I love it. He needs like he got a donk theme song when we say his name now because that's just like appropriate.
If we can get the rights to that, do it.
Right? All right. My bet of the week was George Kittle. And this is exactly like the fantasy output you looked for when you drafted George Kittle. It was kind of a gut punch when you first got him and he immediately got hurt and sidelined. And then his first game back, he goose-egged you and you were just kind of holding your breath. I think a lot of people were like, should I give up on Kittle? Absolutely. The answer is always no. And he came in, he scored 2 touchdowns, 24.7 fantasy points in a normal PPR league, which is just everything you want. And I was joking this weekend, like if you've seen him in the Little Caesars commercials, I was like, you think it was just like one take? Because it was just like those commercials are like just George Kittle being George Kittle. Like he's crazy on a deer. And I'm like, you think he was just like, let's go boys, one take, I'm out. Because it was just, he's wild, he's nutty, he's fun. So George Kittle is my man. How about your rookie of the week?
Rookie of the week for me was Tedero McMillan. He finally was that guy. And it was because Bryce Young was also that guy this week. So that is, if anything, a true tale of an elite receiver with a good quarterback does make, a good pair there. Caught at 8 of 11 targets, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you can't beat that. So if you were doubting Tet, do not doubt Tet. I know he was on a lot of benches this week.
Yeah, he was like someone who I was like sit him this week because it was a bad matchup.
It was a tough matchup.
Trash. Yeah.
Yep. Sometimes that right there is where you say that little part of my gut saying, play him. That's what my gut sounds like.
Yeah, I get it. My rookie of the week was Sean Tucker. 3 touchdowns, 130 total yards, both rushing and passing or catching. He really just like made his way into that offense. And my favorite is when you get a rookie who knows he's that guy, right? And he's been waiting to be able to make his way into the offense. And then finally he does. And kind of is, in my opinion, if he continues to show up like this, he'll take some of those touches away from Rachaad White.
Is he a rookie though?
He's a rookie in my brain. So
okay, because I was like, just for the people, he's not a sincere rookie, but like a rookie on this team. Yeah, and I was like, wait a minute, absolutely. I don't think this is his first year, but
no, absolutely. Yes. Honestly, we're running out of true rookies to talk about.
We are. I
don't want to highlight like Henderson did great, but I'm just like, you know what? We've talked about Henderson a ton. I want to bring Sean Tucker deserves his credit. Sure.
And I was hesitant to even put Ted on there because he's kind of a top rookie. I like when there's those obscuro rookies making plays. But
I agree.
Go Sean Tucker.
Right, we're gonna do you, Sean Tucker. All right, we're gonna run through some injury reports here pretty quickly. As you know, Jamar Chase was suspended for 1 game due to spitting on Jalen Ramsey. So sorry about that number 1 draft pick, Ange. Good luck waiting on him.
Now, do you think if he would have done like a big daddy thing, when the little kids, this like spit comes out and he sucks it back in, what if he could have done that and then would have even got suspended?
In the air, like a lizard tongue?
Yeah.
Maybe if it didn't land on the person.
Okay. And it was like, ooh.
JK, okay. But unfortunately, that's impossible.
Okay.
Nonetheless, Josh Jacobs. I like it. Josh Jacobs was diagnosed with a knee contusion. They are not going to put him on IR. They've ruled that off the table, but I'm going to assume he misses week 12, so keep your eye on that. Drake London is likely missing week 12 PCL strain. So again, probably not going to have him. Dalton Kincaid did not practice on Monday. They play on Thursday. I doubt he's going to go week 12, but again, something to keep your eye on. Michael Penix Jr. done IR knee injury, so he is no longer playing. We now are going to deal with Kirk Cousins as the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. Jaylen Warren does look like he avoided anything serious. He left the game. They said he was okay to come back in week 11. They just held him out due to concern, right? And Gainwell was crushing it. They were winning. It wasn't a big deal, but just something to keep your eye on. Aaron Rodgers is considered 50-50 for week 12. Amari DiMercato had an ankle injury that needs to be monitored into week 12 as well. Calvin Ridley did break his fibula. He is done for the year.
Right when he came back.
Right when he came back. DK from the Titans as well.
I know.
I don't want to play for the Titans anymore. Just break my leg, damn it. Same thing with DK from the Titans. He's dealing with a chest injury and is considered week to week. Kamani Vidal left the game due to a thigh injury in week 11, so needs monitored for week 12. Baishal Tutin, ankle injury week 11. Darnell Mooney injured his ribs in week 11. He did leave the game. Everything points to the fact that he would be playing, and they literally have no other people. So, in my opinion, Darnell Mooney's just going to have to suck it up, Buttercup, and hopefully play week 12 because he's the only upside of that offense without everybody else. Yeah. So those are your injury reports at this point to look out for. Make sure you stay up on injuries as we roll into games.
Would probably also mention Marvin Harrison Jr. just because he's still sort of dealing with that appendicitis situation.
Oh, for sure.
So something to look out for. Week. I don't think he's playing either. And it's weird because it's not an injury, but it's still affecting his play. So it's something to keep on your radar. And it might not even come up if you search injury report. He might not be listed on there. So just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, our buys for the week, we have the Denver Broncos, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Miami Dolphins, and the Washington Commanders are all on bye for week number 12. So let's get into our week 12 matchups. We will go over every single sit-start decisions for every single fantasy relevant player for every single matchup for week 12. So let's get into it, my friends. We're going to start with the Thursday night football game, the Buffalo Bills versus the Houston Texans. I'll start with the Bills pretty simply here. You're starting Josh Allen and you're starting James Cook. Just go ahead and lock those guys into your lineup. In my opinion, at this point, Shakir is someone that you really don't feel comfortable starting. The ball's being passed around a ton inside of that offense. It's just there's no clear wide receiver one. I think you could start guys like Jerry Jeudy. Awkward, I know. Parker Washington, definitely Michael Wilson. Regardless if Marv plays or not, I would still play Michael Wilson. I would play either of the wide receivers from, if I'm all mixed up there. Never mind. I messed it up. Let me go back real quick. All right, in my opinion, the wide receiver, Khalil Shakir, is he's a full sit this week, in my opinion. Could you take a risk on him? Sure. There's probably some guys you might need to start him over. But in my opinion, I would take a shot on Jerry Jeudy before I played Khalil Shakir. There's too much of the ball being passed around for the Buffalo Bills for me to trust it. Parker Washington, Michael Wilson, even if Marv did play, but definitely if Marv doesn't play. I might even take a shot on Yoshiva from the Bengals ahead of Shakir, just for pure 1 week upside. I'm not set that Shakir is going to do anything consistent. He reminds me a lot of Doubs and Watson from the Green Bay Packers. Could he have a big game? Yes. Can you predict it? Probably not. I'm not going to start Dawson Knox if Kincaid doesn't play. If Kincaid did play, I would start Dalton Kincaid. But if Kincaid's out, I'm not even going to think about Dalton Knox. And I'm not going to think about starting the Buffalo Bills defense. In my opinion, you have better streaming options out there this week. Moving on to the Houston Texans side of the football, both of the quarterbacks, CJ Stroud or Davis Mills, I think you have plenty of other options out there. Guys like Jacoby Brissett, Caleb Williams, Matt Stafford, Jared Goff would all come ahead of these guys. Unless you're in a super flex league, they're not someone to consider. Your must start, obviously, is Nico Collins himself. Now, he is dealing with an injury, so it's just something to keep your eye on if for some reason they rule him out week 12 to get him healthy. If for some reason Nico Collins did miss week 12, I would be okay with you starting Jaden Higgins or Xavier Hutchinson. Both of them are great options, but only if Nico Collins does not play. If Nico Collins plays, the ball's being passed around too much for you to trust it. So I would say Higgins and Hutchinson's are starts only if Nico Collins is out. I'm calling Woody Marks a start this week. I know his performance last week was disappointing, but he's got 66% of the snap count. He's getting the work, right? And in my opinion, I'm going to start Marks over Monty. I'm going to start him over Breece Hall. I'm going to start him over Kenneth Gainwell. I'm going to start him over Rachaad White. I would obviously start guys like DeAndre Swift, Ashton Genty, and ETN over Woody Marks this week. Schultz is a sit for me. He's playing the hardest defense against the tight end. We watched the Bills hold K. Dotton to 28 yards last week. Schultz is a sit this week. He's also dealing with an injury. You've got plenty of other options out there. And the Houston Texans defense is a sit.
All right, moving into my first matchup, the Seattle Seahawks versus the Tennessee Titans. Ooh, this should be an interesting one. Must starts on the Seahawks side. Most of the positions are starts because the Titans defense is weak. We've seen that throughout the year. Now they've shown some flashes of brilliance, but you're starting guys like JSN, you're starting Kenneth Walker at this point. And now we'll talk a little bit more about it. I feel a little bit more comfortable now with Kenneth Walker. I think he's been given the ball more. Charbonnet did not score a touchdown, which did not make him very relevant. So Kenneth Walker, I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to start the defense and the special teams for the Seahawks against the Titans for sure. Other players to mention, Sam Darnold is a sit. Sam Darnold, I was on the Sam Darnold train. I am no longer on the Sam Darnold train, even against this Titans defense. I don't trust him.
How many interceptions did he throw?
Oh my goodness. I think it was 4. I believe it was 4. I believe it was 4. 4 came to mind. I think that's correct. So bye-bye Sam Darnold. When it comes to receivers, that's a little bit of a different discussion there. I would start Jacoby Myers. I think he is showing himself in the offense much stronger. Now he's got a week under his belt. I think he's going to be the primary receiver. And then we go into guys like Rashid Shaheed. I personally would take a risk on Rashid Shaheed. We're seeing that boomer bust player, but he is very viable to make those big plays in this particular matchup. I'm going to play him over guys like Josh Downs, over Jerry Jeudy. Even though Jeudy has a better matchup, I don't trust Jerry Jeudy. I have more trust in Rashid Shaheed personally. But I am going to sit Shaheed over guys like Tez Johnson and DJ Moore. Those guys for me aren't as or more productive rather than Shaheed this week. Cooper Kupp is a full sit for me. I don't have trust in Cooper Kupp. I would sit him over guys like Luther Burden for the Chicago Bears. I think he might even get a big play that might overtake Cooper Kupp. And Jerry Jeudy would be played over Cooper Kupp. I'm sitting AJ Barner. It is a tough positional matchup against the tight end for the Titans. So guys like Noah Fant or K. Dotton might be better streams for the week than AJ Barner. And you probably don't have AJ Barner on your roster fully. You probably picked him up when you needed him. So something to keep in mind. I already said we're starting the defense. For the Titan side, there are literally nobody that I'm going to strongly suggest you start for the Tennessee Titans. The Seahawks defense is just too strong. Passing defense, rushing defense, all of those things, pressure, all of those things are too strong. The only player that I would maybe, as an extremely risky, desperate, oh my gosh, what am I going to do, would be Tyjae Spears. The Seattle Seahawks are a little bit weaker against receiving running backs, so he could take that role. Tony Pollard for me is a complete sit. I don't trust Pollard at all. Tyjae Spears has been the guy with the more snaps. We already mentioned that Calvin Ridley's out, so any of the wide receivers like Van Jefferson, Io Manor, I know we said DK is kind of dealing with that chest injury. Mm-hmm. I don't trust any of them as well either in this matchup. Another guy to talk about as a streaming option, maybe not specifically for this week, but going further, would be the tight end Chig. You can know how to say the last name.
Chig Okonkwo.
There we go. The Seahawks show vulnerability to the tight end position. He might be someone, if you have a guy on bye or on, I know Sam Laporta went out with injury. Maybe you had Laporta and you need someone to pop in there. Chig might be that guy. I would start him over guys like Mason Taylor. I would trust Chig more than Njoku this week. And Juwan Johnson, I'd play Chig over Juwan Johnson personally. And I'm sitting the Tennessee Titans defense.
I love it. All right, next matchup for me is the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Chicago Bears. So we'll start with the Steelers first. I think the only must-starts on this side of the football at this point, Jaylen Warren and or Kenneth Gainwell, really just depending on if for some reason they ruled Jaylen Warren out, then Kenneth Gainwell's a no-brainer. I have a feeling that they'll probably split the backfield about 50-50 this week just to ensure Jaylen Warren stays healthy. The Steelers are in the running to make their way into the playoffs, so they're going to try to keep their big name guys as healthy as possible. So I do think both Warren and Gainwell can be started. I would play Jaylen Warren over Woody Marks, Kareem Hunt, Breece Hall. I would play Gainwell over guys like Chubb, Brian Robinson Jr., Blake Corum. So like Gainwell still falls in that like backup running back position, but he has far more favorable upside than Corum, who's just not getting the touches next to Williams, right? Or Brian Robinson with CMC or Chubb behind Woody Mark. So just for a little bit of context there as well. Moving forward from there, like Aaron Rodgers, he's 50-50 anyways. I'm not considering Mason, dirty stash Rudolph at this point either. Homie's mustache was intense.
Well,
I was like,
almost
bro.
Christmas, so every single time they said his name, I just sang Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in my head.
Oh my God,
every single time.
I'm just like, all right. So I'm not starting either of them. His mustache was so bad. I'm not a mustache
kid
girl.
That was like,
so
look what I can do, bro. Look
I
what I
grow
can
a
do.
stash. Dude, I was just like, get that dirty stash off my screen. Thank you. Okay, cool. DK Metcalf, I mean, another good matchup for him this week going against the Chicago Bears. Like, this is another good matchup for the wide receiver position. I honestly have more hope in DK Metcalf if Mason Rudolph plays. Mason Rudolph loves to hyper-target players, so that's like his MO. He likes to hyper-target. DK is a big body dude. He wants passes that challenge him. That's not Aaron Rodgers' zone of genius. He's a safe guy through and through. Aaron Rodgers just looks pissed. He's angry. And I'm like, can we just like go get some therapy? Therapy's good. We like it. Maybe he needs to go.
Everybody can admit to that. It's okay.
Therapy's a good thing, Aaron. Aaron, go get some therapy because you just seem angry and you're mad at DK and you're just mad at everyone. But DK, in my opinion, like, he's probably a start. You're probably going to throw him in your lineup. I'm probably going to recommend that you do it. I'm going to start DK over like Shakir, Dubs, Watson, any of the tight end or Titans wide receivers, right? I am going to sit DK, but these are probably no-brainers. Like, I'm going to sit DK behind AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, T. Higgins, Roma Dunze, Jamison Williams, Ted McMillan. So if you have a stacked wide receiver room, maybe you can sit him, but you're probably starting him. There are no tight ends I'm considering because it's just too many of them. And I do think the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is a solid streaming option this week against the Bears, and they seem like they're really ramping up. Over to the Bears side of the football, 2 must-starts. I know you don't want to start Roma Dunze. People asked right in the comment section before I even got on this, like, is he droppable at this point? No. He is their wide receiver one. You don't want to let him go. And you're playing him this week because the Steelers do typically give up a lot of points to the wide receiver position. So, like, I know it's hard. He's been heavily inconsistent in, like, big ranges, but I'm still starting Rome. I'm also still starting DeAndre Swift as well. Other guys to consider starting, Caleb Williams is still a streaming quarterback option. I'm going to start Caleb over Flacco, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott just this week due to matchup, Jordan Love, Sam Darnold. I'm going to sit Caleb behind your normal guys, Allen, Hurts, May, Mahomes, Stafford, obviously. DJ Moore, in my opinion, he's a sit. There's not many people I want to start or I'm going to have DJ Moore start over. I would start like Sean Tucker ahead of DJ Moore, Michael Wilson, even Greg Dortch. I would do Darnell Mooney ahead of him this week. So I think Parker Washington, I think you have plenty of options. Monunga is a full sit, potentially even maybe droppable. He only was relevant because he got in the end zone. But if you need relevant running back room, something to consider. I'm also not starting either of the tight ends from the Bears. Again, the snap count is just, it's too spread around. They're not getting enough of the work for me to feel full confident. And I wish so much that there was only one tight end for the Bears because you would be starting Loveland no matter what then.
Right.
I just think you have other options. Henry has a great matchup this week. Kelsey, Otten, Andrews. I even think Jawan Johnson is someone I would look at starting ahead of Loveland or Kmet in my opinion. And the defense is a full sit.
Going into my next matchup, Jaguars versus Cardinals. On the Jaguars side, the only guy that I'm trusting as a solid start is Travis Etienne. Some of his play got a little bit scooped by Shell Tootin, but Tootin is now possibly injured, questionable, so something to look out for. But that really, I think, helped Etienne, Tootin getting out of the way, Tootin out of the way. Cardinals are a bottom tier defense, so there's some upside here with the Jags offense. I'm still not going to start Trevor Lawrence. Don't love him as a start. I would take a risk on Bryce Young over Trevor Lawrence this week, personally, if you're really, really desperate. Parker Washington, I'm kind of back and forth on that. Because Jacoby Myers is taking most of the targets. Parker Washington's becoming a little bit less relevant. He really took over that spot from BTJ and from Travis Hunter because of their whatever absences and injuries. If you need someone, I don't mind starting Parker Washington whatsoever. I think he's still reliable in the offense to get you points. He's not going to go out of your way to get you this big giant game like he has in the past couple weeks. They face the Cards on Sunday, and they've allowed 6 different wideouts to have at least 54 yards or a touchdown, so makes him a little bit more relevant here. Jacoby Myers, I'm going to give a start this week. We already talked about Baishal Tutin to wash that injury. If he's healthy, I don't mind him in this matchup whatsoever. They would continue to share those snaps, hopefully not overtake ETN personally because I have ETN. So please. Finally saw ETN doing some good things. Brian Thomas Jr., there is an injury still kind of pending over his head. He's still a little bit questionable. Even if he were healthy, I would sit him. I do not like him in this game. I think even coming back one time from injury, he just needs a little bit more time, if not the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way they need to go. We really haven't had too much conversation about the tight end position for the Jaguars. Brenton Strange is the guy to kind of look at there, but I don't love him in this matchup. I haven't seen enough from him. I mean, if you really just need a mid-level tight end, maybe you grab him to fill a spot, but nothing to write home about. The offense for the Jaguars against the Cardinals could be a good start this week, just because the Cardinals could be taken advantage of, especially with Brissett throwing so much like he has the past couple of weeks. And then moving into the Cardinals side of the game, must starts for me would be Jacoby Brissett. I would start him if you needed him, especially in a 2-quarterback league, someone to look at very heavily. You are starting Michael Wilson. Even, Amanda said it earlier, even if Marv's back, Michael Wilson is just that dude. He showed up and showed out. And you are obviously starting Trey McBride. Really no questions there. As far as other people go, running back Bam Knight with DeMarcado out with injury, Bam Knight is elevated. This is a tough matchup for them, though. Mm-hmm. I would still say you could start Bam Knight, no problem, because he is the only back there. We have to also take a look at Trey Benson coming back. I don't think he'll be back in 12.
We still haven't heard anything about it yet.
We still don't know.
Yeah, if Trey Benson's back, that makes me change my mind on Bam Knight a little bit.
I was just going to say that, right? That would change my mind on Bam Knight for sure, because they're not going to just not play Trey Benson. They're going to ease him into the offense, but he's going to take the majority of the snaps. So that would be kind of an up in the air situation if Benson is back. No to tonight. If Benson is out, yes tonight. And that would be a tentative yes. Maybe not your top running back, maybe a flex position there. And then I'm going to sit the Cardinals defense for sure against the Jaguars.
My next matchup is the Indianapolis Colts versus the Kansas City Chiefs. This should be a really, really good matchup. I am quite excited for it. So must starts from the Colts, Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren. Yes, this is a difficult matchup for Tyler Warren. No, you're not sitting Tyler Warren. I wouldn't anyways. Take the upside of the beast of a man that he is. I am going to preference to say this is a mad Chiefs team coming off of a loss. I would imagine they're coming in fired up. That entire unit, offense and defense. This is also a particularly difficult defense for Daniel Jones to be coming back off of a bye too. I don't think this means Jones is an automatic sit. I just think you might have a couple questions before throwing him into your lineup. So in my opinion, I would start guys over Jones, like Jared Goff, Matt Stafford, Baker Mayfield, maybe even Jacoby Brissett as a better streaming option just this week. I'm not going to continue that. I think Jones, he has a really good playoff schedule. So into week 15, Jones is a great option into the playoffs as a fantasy football quarterback. This is just a hard matchup for him this week. So he's not my favorite quarterback this week. I would definitely play Daniel Jones over Darnold, J.J. McCarthy, Trevor Lawrence. So I'm not going to go to the depths of despair to sit Daniel Jones, but you might be able to think about sitting him. Same thing with the wide receivers. I just think they're all risky at this point this week because this is a hard matchup for them. So Michael Pittman, typically I would say play Michael Pittman. I pause a little bit. I would start DK over Michael Pittman, Tet over Pittman, Rome over Pittman. I would even start Michael Wilson over Pittman. So it's super roster specific. It's a hard matchup. He's not an auto sit, but it's a hard matchup for him. Same thing with like Alec Pierce. I'm really going to sit Josh Downs. I'm not considering him. Alec Pierce is in more of the offensive schemes. So like he's more relevant in my opinion. He's not an auto sit. He's just a risky start. I would start guys like Addison, Pickens, DK, Parker, Trey Tucker, all ahead of Pierce for me this week personally, just due to matchups. I mean, even looking at someone like Trey Tucker and Parker, they're both actually projected lower than Pierce, but I just think the matchups favor them a little bit more, and I can see a hard time for that offense, and the Colts defense is a sit for me this week. Now the Chiefs, they're coming up against a Colts defense who only had Sauce Gardner for like a little bit of time, and now they had a whole bye week, and now they have Sauce Gardner full force involved in that defense. But still, they're pissed. You're starting Patrick Mahomes, Rashee Rice, you're starting Travis Kelce as well. All three of those guys are locked into your line, in my opinion. Worthy's a full sit because I just think you have better upside outside of Worthy. I would start Alec Pierce ahead of Worthy, in my opinion. So like just a little context there. Pacheco and Hunt, if they both play, I'm sitting them both. If Pacheco is out again, then I don't mind Hunt. He has relevance getting into the end zone too. So like that's kind of my context there, and I'm not playing the Kansas City defense.
Let's see how that goes for Amanda's soul this week. Danny Jones all the way.
Danny Dimes, help me out, baby.
Get it, boy. My next matchup is Browns versus Raiders. Ooh, two of the poopiest colored teams that could ever be are facing off. I hate the silver pants of the Raiders. It looks cheap. It looks like a little league team playing. I hate it. I thought about it this week. Nobody's butt looks good in it.
So uninspired.
They are.
They're just like, they look so bleh. I'm like, the fucking Raiders, like make a dirty, like get my like black matte situation. Like you could be so mean looking. And it's just like, Little League Raiders.
Yeah, like, it's like, okay, we got these on discount. Okay, starting off with the Brown side, I'm clearly going to start at the defense here. They are a great streaming option if you don't already have them. I know I intentionally made sure I stashed the Browns a couple weeks ago for last week and then for this week. So maybe you had the same idea as me. And then the only other guy that I think you just have to keep trusting is Quinshon Judkins. It's kind of hard to say that after last week. Since Flacco left, he's kind of had a decrease in production. But I think he's still a very relevant running back. He's kind of that little bit of light in their game. Now that kind of goes into my next thing of who's going to start as quarterback could affect a lot of things here because boy was Shador Shate.
Oh, Shador.
We were watching the game and my husband said, I just wish they would put Shador in. And then he wasn't paying attention because he plays on his phone and then he doesn't listen. And then I heard he's in concussion protocol. And I'm like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's like, what? I'm like, Shador. And then it wasn't very bad.
It was in true Browns fans fashion too. They're like, oh yeah. And then like by the end, they're booing the shit out of it.
And we're like, oh no, we did it again. But both quarterbacks shouldn't even be rostered. So sittable. Jerry Jeudy, I still don't trust Jerry Jeudy. I'm sitting Jerry Jeudy. I'm starting guys over like Jacoby Myers over him, Rashid Shaheed over him. The Raiders They aren't bad against the wide receiver role, but I just don't like Jerry Jeudy here. You just don't have a lot of trust in Jeudy. I'm also going to sit Tillman. I'm sitting Bond. Really no receivers from the Cleveland Browns are giving me any hope. And then when it comes to tight ends, Fannin and Njoku are also not going to be in my lineup this week. I don't really trust them. If I had to pick desperately between the two, I probably would lean Fannin because he's more of a receiver type kind of tight end where he's going deep. He's doing those big things where Njoku's kind of just a ginormous body. I would love to see Njoku and Darnell Washington standing next to each other and see what it looked like.
Big men.
I would go even Colston Loveland, Kate Otten, even I would go for a flyer with Noah Fant over Fannin or Njoku this week. And then I already said we're starting the defense for sure. Going into the Raiders side, the only relevant players you are starting are Brock Bowers for sure, even though you have to manage expectations a little bit this week with the defense. And you're also still going to solidly start Ashton Genty, even though, again, taper expectations with a tougher defense. You're sitting Geno Smith, Trey Tucker, Tyler Lockett, you're sitting as well. The Browns defense is pretty solid against wide receivers. I don't have a lot of good things to say in this matchup for them. I'm going to sit them over guys like maybe a Tez Johnson would be a better pick for me this week when it comes to Trey Tucker or Tyler Lockett personally. The offense is struggling with this tough defense. I don't see that playing out very well. And then the defense could be a streaming play against a weak Browns offense for sure, especially if Shadur's back in there as their quarterback. I would look at the Raiders, someone who you could potentially grab for free, who wouldn't be off of waivers, who might still be sitting there on Thursday when you're saying, oh, let me scoop them up. So something to think about.
I love it. All right. Vikings versus Packers. So the Vikings obviously are facing a solid Green Bay Packers defense who has really been shutting down a lot. So this will pose difficulties for a lot of players. Not only are they playing a hard defense, we're really watching kind of like, in my opinion, JJ McCarthy's reminding me a lot of like Jake Browning right now, where just like he can't get his star player the fucking football. Like JJ looks bad. I mean, before Dylan Gabriel got hurt, he was putting up better numbers than JJ McCarthy was.
Yeah.
And that's just like embarrassing by nature. He had a less than 50% completion rate on the game, which is not good as a quarterback. So like it's very difficult right now where your typical must-starts would be Justin Jefferson. He's hard. Like he's still, in my opinion, like I have him listed as like a risky start because I still think he's a startable guy. Same thing with Jordan Addison. I think both of them can be started. But in my opinion, Jordan Addison is getting better targets. If Jordan added Butterfinger Addison could just catch the football consistently, he would have put up a decent week. He scored a touchdown. Justin Jefferson is just like, yes, he got 9 targets, 5 receptions. They're just not great passes. He's putting them in interesting positions. It's just been kind of a clusterfuck. So yes, you're probably going to risky start both Jefferson and Addison. But if you for some reason have better upside, like there's better upside guys out there like Olave and Tet and Pickens are all better upside than Jefferson at this point, which is crazy to think about.
And we had that same conversation earlier in the year with some big players. Like that happens.
Chase. Wait, so when Chase didn't have the quarterback, he couldn't perform.
Exactly. Yeah. Just because they're big names doesn't mean they are auto starts for you. No. Take a look at who you have, assess and that piece, and matchups. Exactly. Because we're getting down to crunch time when those things are going to win you those games. Not just, I drafted JJ in the second round. I have to play. No, you don't. Yeah. No, think about that.
Absolutely. JJ McCarthy for me is a full ass sit. Daniel Jones, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Jacoby Brissett. I would start Darnold or Young over JJ McCarthy at this point. Like I'm not putting JJ McCarthy in my lineup, in my opinion. Aaron Jones, in my opinion, is a start this week. Tracy and Singletary handled business with the run game last week against the Green Bay Packers, so I'm not worried about Aaron Jones. He's looked really good since coming back from injury as well. Jordan Mason is just a backup. He's a full sit. Hawkinson, in my opinion, is also a sit. I mean, he got you 6.9 points. It's really all you're expecting from these mid-tier tight ends. I see a lot of people get pissed when their tight end only gets 6 points. To be clear, 6 to 10 is all you should be expecting from these midline guys. So taper expectations.
When they pop off and they're not Bowers or McBride, you're like, hell
clap. Yeah, you just clap. But like Henry, Kelsey, Otten, Andrews, Juwan Johnson all have better matchups this week over TJ Hawkinson. So he's a sit. And then the defense is a sit for me as well. Packers must starts. Obviously, Josh Jacobs, if he were to play, I'm throwing him in my lineup. You can start Emmanuel Wilson. I would say I would go Aaron Jones over Emmanuel Wilson. Just my personal preference. Not that I think Wilson will be bad. This is more difficult defense than what he faced last week as well. I would also start the Green Bay Packers defense as a must start as well. Jordan Love's a streaming quarterback option. I would sit Love over guys like Jacoby Brissett, Jared Goff, and Matt Stafford, though. So you probably have other options. Unless you don't, then you can go ahead and start Love. I think the hardest conversation I had in my brain, I didn't list it because I didn't want to have it, was Jordan Love versus Daniel Jones. Because Daniel Jones has a harder matchup. Jordan Love has but he has the weapons and they're coming off of a bye. I personally lean a little bit towards Daniel Jones.
I would too. I just think he has big playability. Not that Jordan Love doesn't, but I've seen more reliable play from some of the receivers that he has too on the Colts side. Even with the addition of Alec Pearson and Tyler Warren, right? Those guys where Jordan Love doesn't necessarily have that. Now, if Tucker Kraft were playing, maybe that we'd have having a different conversation.
Yeah, I agree too. And I'm thinking too now, like if Josh Jacobs is out, they're going to have less of a potent run game, which is going to open up the pass game less. And with Jonathan Taylor, that's going to open up the pass game for the Colts. So I stand by Daniel Jones then. I like it. I like it. Okay. Needed to have that conversation.
To talk about it with someone else and your own brain.
Yeah. Needed to have that conversation. Okay. Same thing, wide receiver here. Christian Watson, Romeo Dubs. And I called him Romeo Butterfinger Dubs because homeboy dropped 3 passes. Like it was bad.
It's his helmet.
Oh, well, I like that he wears the Guardian cap.
There's butter in it. There's butter
Protect
in
your helmet, bro beans.
The Guardian cap.
Protect your precious head. Anyway, so streaming wide receivers, these guys are really like always going to be boomer bust type of players. Neither of them are bad. Neither of them are great. And you're just hoping that the guy you pick, it's his week, right? 1 week, Ange's spicy start was Dubs, and he had a great week. Christian Watson has had great weeks like he did this past week. So it's really just a toss-up, right? I would play like Derrick Henry ahead of both of these guys if you're running back heavy. I would play Michael Wilson over both of these guys. I would play Jameson Williams over both of these guys. I might even consider Parker Washington over both of these guys. But again, that's just because the consistency might be a little bit more there than anything. And that's honestly just like trust your gut, season to taste stuff. I'm not even going to think about starting the tight end. And I do like the defense. I already mentioned that.
Okay. Cool. My next matchup is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. So I like matchups like this where there is an elite offense going against an elite defense, vice versa. It's fun. But this is pretty easy for the Eagles. You're pretty much starting everybody because the Dallas Cowboys defense is just not great. Now they've started to come alive. And this is every week, I think I got the defense figured out. And then they have a great game or then they have a bad game. So that's just how it goes. But you're starting Hurts, you're starting AJ Brown, you're starting Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley. You still got to trust in Saquon Barkley. I know he's been letting everybody down, but this should be the week where he kind of has his redemption game, in my opinion. You're starting Goddard and you are starting the Eagles defense, who have been just solid AF throughout the year. That's really it. Moving into the Cowboys, there are on the opposite side, pretty much every offensive player you are also starting. You are starting Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott could be someone that you have a little bit of a hesitation on. You might want to fade him this week because it is a harder matchup. So if you take a look at more superior matchups against or quarterbacks who have superior matchups, that's what I'm trying to say. Don't think, well, it's Dak. He's a big name. I got to play him. Not necessarily. Mm-hmm. But you're starting Javonte Williams, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson. You got to start them. And then you're going to sit the Cowboys defense for sure.
Hey, absolutely. All right, New York Giants versus the Detroit Lions. A little bit harder. One team's easy, one team's a little bit harder. And we'll start with the harder team, which is the Giants. At this point, we still don't know if Jackson Dart's playing or not. So it's Jackson Dart or Jameson Williams. I'm not going to start Jameis Winston, whatever.
There's a lot of names that sound very similar to that.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm tongue-tied at this point, too. So I'm not going to start Jameis Winston at all. Jackson Dart, I don't think is a terrible streaming option. He's just going against the Lions. I think you have better favorable quarterback options, in my opinion. So I wouldn't look to play Jackson Dart this week. It does matter, though. No, it really doesn't matter who plays quarterback-wise. I think Wan'Dale Robinson... he's just a risky start. I would start Robinson over Watson or Dubs. Same thing with Slayton. I would play Slayton over Watson or Dubs as long as Slayton plays this week because he was out week 11. They're just going to be a little bit gut check risky situations because the Lions defense doesn't suck. Like we watched them kind of maintain the Eagles offense last week for sure in a really shitty call. The Eagles won the game, but like whatever. Both Tracy and Singletary, I know they had great weeks last week, so I think sometimes we get that star power of, oh my God, I can play them both. I'm probably sitting them both and looking to play guys like Breece Hall, Kamara, Judkins, Walker ahead of them this week. This is going to be hard for them. Not that you couldn't, if I had to favor one, I'd probably go Tracy over Singletary, but that's just he's getting more work than Singletary is. So that's why I favor him a little bit.
Decision that's got to help you make,
Yeah.
If you're really on the fence.
Agreed. Both of them are startable this week. I would just expect them to be like a Pollard or Spears where they're going to get you like 6 to 10 points this week is what you could hope for. Same thing with Theo Jones. Like he's not a full sit. He's just a risky start. I would start him over like Musgraves, Mason, over Schultz this week because Schultz is a really shitty matchup. I would start Auten Andrews ahead of Theo Johnson this week in my opinion. And then I'm going to sit the defense Over on the Lions side, I'm starting Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm starting Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm starting Jamison Williams for sure. Jared Goff is a perfectly fine streaming quarterback. Some people were pissed about his performance. Like, he just had like a normal week, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You're going to get those unless he threw 1 touchdown. If he would have thrown 2 or 3 touchdowns, you would have had a much different tune. So
Exactly.
like, he still had 255 passing yards. Like, he still played. He's like quarterback 3 on the year. He's still playing out of his mind.
Right.
So I'm still going to start him, and I'm starting him over like JJ, Purdy, Williams, Jordan Love. I go Jared Goff all day over them. Monty is a solid streaming start this week. And what I mean by streaming is like, you could put him in your lineup ahead of other guys. Like, I would start Montgomery over Emmanuel Wilson. I would start Montgomery over Sharps, over Hunt, over Gainwell, over Tracy, over Spears, over Singletary, over Pollard, right? So he could throw him in this week. Laporta is on IR, and there's no other tight end to really think about here. And then I do think that the defense of the Lions is a good start this week, even better if Jameis Winston plays, but I still think they're startable with Jackson Dart as well.
Jameis Winston. I just love it. And then I wanted to say, did you see there was like clips of like Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterby coming to like support the team and whatever. And Cam Scatterby's on this little scooter and it's just so cute.
They're a cute team. Okay.
No, like Jackson Dart was just like, I don't know what the outfit he had on was. It was very odd. Like, okay, buddy. Okay, moving on to my next matchup, Falcons versus the Saints. Must starts for the Falcons here are Bijan Robinson, and we are watching the status of Drake London. Most likely he is out, I think, or was he already officially ruled out?
No, they haven't officially ruled him out yet, but it's highly speculative.
Yes. So Drake London, but just count him out. I would say that they're going to take him out of this game for sure. If for some reason he were magically healthy, yeah, he's a start. But when we go through some other players, we know that Michael Penix is out for the rest of the season. Kirk Cousins, no. Okay. But Kirk Cousins was a big quarterback, right? He was a guy who could play good football. He's 37 now or older than that, which is officially old because it's older than us. You're not trusting him still. And that could change things for the offense just a little bit. Because we think, and we're pretty certain that Drake London is out, Darnell Mooney comes into play to get those targets and become that wide receiver one. I would not feel bad starting Darnell Mooney this week because of Drake London being out, because targets being really going to not a lot of other people here. When we'll talk about the other person. When Kirk Cousins last year played, Mooney averaged 4.1 catches, 62.4 yards in the 14 games Cousins played with him. So that gives me a little bit more hope there. So Darnell Mooney is someone you can keep in mind. As far as Tyler Algier goes, I don't think he's a bad stash on your bench for sure. I think he's a guy that you can rely on in some aspects. Again, a 6 to maybe 8 point player.
Yeah, he's a guy who like you can always throw in and he's not going to goose egg you. But like,
true.
If you're desperate for running backs and you're like, I need somebody that's not going to fucking shit on me, Algier's always there for you.
Yes, he is. And then Kyle Pitts, I'm going to say is a start this week because of Drake London being out. But again, he is Kyle Pitts. So do we really put a lot of trust into him? He's starting to get a little stinky as we go throughout the season. And the Falcons defense against the Saints is most definitely a streaming option if you can grab them for sure. As far as the Saints go, really only 2 guys that I have any faith in here are, and I'm going to say it, Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave for sure. Against this Falcons defense, who's been a little bit poor against the run as of late, Kamara has a lot more upside for me this week. I have a lot more trust in him, especially after the last game that he played. And then Olave obviously is a very good start. You're not starting Tyler Shuck. No way. He's not rostered, even though he looked a little bit better in the last game. I'm going to also suggest sitting Juwan Johnson in this matchup. They are tough on the tight end positions. His relevance is tapering a little bit. I would start guys. I would probably take a risk on a Theo Johnson over Juwan Johnson personally. And that's a weird because the same last names there. But I would do that in that situation and feel like, okay, maybe I could get bigger plays, or am I just going to get a nothing game? So, and then I'm going to sit the Saints defense.
All right. Well, this one's super easy because we have the Jets versus the Ravens, and one team is great and one team's not. So for the Jets, the only player to consider is Breece Hall, and I do think you can give him the start this week. Again, in the economy that is a poor running back economy right now.
The economy.
The economy, you might need to start someone like Breece Hall, and I don't think it's terrible, right? Do I think the Ravens defense is as bad as they were when they started the year? No. So do I have that much hope in Breece Hall? No, but I hope he gets you at least 8 to 10 points. And I would start him over like a Spears or Pollard, in my opinion, or maybe even Tracy or Singletary. From there, I'm not starting Justin Fields. None of the wide receivers I would even think about, and I'm not starting Mason Taylor. So that's it. And I'm not starting the Jets defense. So cool. Jets are done. The Ravens, very similar, but opposite. So like Lamar Jackson, yes. Derrick Henry, yes. Zay Flowers, yes. Mark Andrews, yes. And the Baltimore Ravens defense, yes. So basically, you're starting every fantasy relevant player from the Baltimore Ravens and throwing them into your lineup. Again, they're facing a struggling Jets offense. Most of the stars are easy starts this week. The only guys you're not starting are like Rashad Bateman or any of the other like rogue wide receiver twos. You're not going to start them because you just can't guarantee that consistency. And that ends that matchup.
Moving on to my next is Buccaneers versus the Rams. For the Buccaneers side of the ball, you're starting Baker Mayfield. You are starting Emeka Egbuka, even though Emeka Egpooped on you last week. It's okay. He's going to buff out. Tez Johnson is someone to talk about. In this particular matchup, Rams are a little easier on the wide receiver position. So Tez Johnson has a little bit more of a bright light here. The running back should be kind of what they're probably stuffing more in this particular matchup. So I'm going to say start Tez Johnson for sure. I would start him over a Parker Washington. I would start him over, trying to think of another guy.
Rashid Shaheed.
I was just going to say Rashid Shaheed, right? Mm-hmm. Have a little bit more faith in Tez Johnson. He had a down week last week. It is okay. He will be fine. As far as the running back room goes, again, just like the Trey Benson conversation, we are wondering, when is Bucky Irving going to be back? So if Bucky Irving is back, you did not draft Bucky Irving to put him on their bench. So you're going to put Bucky Irving into the game, right? Now, when it comes to Rachaad White, he's a full sit. You're not even thinking about Rachaad White at all. So the only conversation that you're having is Bucky Irving, Sean Tucker. Even if Bucky's back, Sean Tucker's going to be relevant. I think he grinded his way into the backfield. Now, we've seen this from Sean Tucker before, though, right? We've seen him have these big, giant games. We all talk about him. We're all excited about him. And then he kind of fades away. But he definitely has relevancy in this, game, even if Bucky's back, because Bucky's coming back from, how many weeks of injury. So I would say start Bucky for sure if Bucky's there, even against a tough defense. Bucky's the guy. Sean Tucker could probably get, I don't know why I'm making those noises, could probably be put in a flex position where he's going to get you something. He has that pass catching ability. That could be something to think about. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head who I would start Sean Tucker or sit over. Can you think of anybody?
Sit over, what do you mean? Sit over Sean Tucker? You mean
like start over Sean Tucker? Start over Sean Tucker.
Start over Sean Tucker. I mean, it really does depend on Bucky. If Bucky doesn't play, Sean Tucker's a start. True. Easy start for me. I haven't seen anything that points to Bucky playing. So I have a feeling that injury was worse than we all imagined, and he's not coming back week 12. The only guys I can think of is I probably would go Sean Tucker potentially over Charbonnet. Kareem Hunt, if Pacheco plays, I would probably go Sean Tucker in that situation. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the level of tight end that I would, or running back that I would be looking at.
Okay. And then Cade Otton is a very startable option in this matchup as well. If you have guys on buys, like I mentioned earlier, he should get much more play than he did last week. He has a more favorable matchup this week. And as far as the Buccaneers defense, I'm going to sit them. Don't see them doing too good in this particular matchup. On the Rams side, pretty easy starts here. You're going to start Matthew Stafford. You're going to start Kyren Williams. You're going to start Puka Nacua. And you're going to start Devontae Adams. Pretty simple, right? Simple stuff. There's not a lot of guys to really talk about. There really is no relevant tight end here to discuss. They kind of spread the ball around to tight ends and nothing special there. And then as far as the Rams defense against the Bucs, I think they're a good start.
I love it. I agree. All right. Final matchup here for me. I have the New England Patriots versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, Patriots are pretty easy. You're going to start Drake May. I'm going to start Henderson, even if Stevenson's back. You could start both of them, Henderson and Stevenson. I believe fully fully that Daddy Vrabel listens to our podcast. He doesn't. But I believe
Daddy
fully that he
Vrabel.
listens to our podcast. Listen, he was, an Ohio State dude. We live in Ohio. I live in Columbus. Come on.
We call him Daddy Vrabel.
I mean, come on now. Nonetheless, I believe that he believes in his boy Henderson, and he's at least going to give him 50-50 with Stevenson. And I swear to all things holy, if he does not, I'm going to riot next week. Riot. Hair on fire, pissed off.
She will start
I won't
Daddy
Vrabel.
Anyone,
okay?
Oh.
But I would never. Nonetheless, I think both of them are startable this week. Diggs, startable. Hunter Henry, great matchup for the tight end position. So I love that as well. There's no other wide receiver I'm going to take a shot on. I know Matt Collins had a great week. They're passing the ball around so much that you're never going to guess the roulette board. It's kind of even if Booty's back this week, I don't want any of that boomer bust situation. So I think you got better, more consistent upsides out there. I also think the defense could potentially be a streaming option this week with Chase being out. This would be more like a free agency move, meaning if you don't want to pick up a defense early and you want to wait it out to see who's left, maybe you take a shot. It's an option. I think there's better options, but it could be a touch risky. Moving on to the Bengals, again, obviously Jamar Chase being suspended. T. Higgins is a no-brainer. He is going to get the attention of the Pats cornerback, Christian Gonzalez, though, so they are going to lock him up pretty good. That's why I like the other wide receiver, Yoshival. We're just going to go Yoshival because I don't really. Is it Andre? Is it his first and last name together?
It's Andre. I think
Andre.
It's
Okay, Andre Yoshival. Yes. No, I just know it because I just say Yoshi every time they call his name, and he's the Yoshi guy for me.
Can you imagine Mom saying that last name?
No, she would. Hoshivash. She would say some ridiculous shit. She adds letters where letters are not supposed to be there. Nonetheless, I think Yoshival is a great play this week. He's going to act as their wide receiver too. I think it'd be a sneaky good start. Obviously not over your true wide receiver ones. Don't get me confused here, but could be a rogue streaming spot start this week. Chase Brown, yes, lock him in your lineup. Joe Flacco, maybe. I think maybe he's starting to get a little ouchy. I saw him out there rubbing his shoulder. I'm like, bro, you're 40. I get it.
His last hurrah though.
Yeah, who knows? I'm going to sit Joe and play Caleb Williams, Daniel Jones, Jacoby Brissett, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, all ahead of Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco's not a total sit. He's just a streaming quarterback. And then Noah Fant, could be a sneaky option with Chase being out. They're going to have to utilize Noah Fant more in the pass game to open everything up. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say do it, but could be a streaming option. I would play Henry Andrews.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, you're looking at Noah Fant in the Juwan Johnson, Theo Johnson arena where you're who do you think is going to have the better week and hope for the good upside there? If you want consistency, Andrews, Henry, those kind of guys. So, and the defense, I am sitting the bunghole defense.
Bungholes. All right. And then my last matchup, this is the Monday night game, would be Panthers versus 49ers. I can't. Bungholes. We heard that our entire lives from our father.
Did he say bungholes?
I'm pretty sure he said bung. I can see his face saying it. Maybe it's just me looking in this
If you
camera.
look at Angie's face, just know that that's what he looks like. As Angie's gotten older, she looks darkingly like her father.
It's scary, man. It's at least I have my hair.
You know what? Every time it reminds me of remember when Bubba painted those rocks of mom and dad and they looked like the stone?
So you're calling me a fat-faced rock. I hate you.
Shut up. Fat face never came out of my fucking mouth. Watch your mouth. No, but she just looks like my dad. And it's so funny because you used to look just like mom. And it's just so goofy how things change.
It's weird. Your face morphs. Maybe one year you'll look like dad. Probably not. Okay. All right. Going into my last matchup, which is Panthers versus 49ers. For the Panthers side, the 49ers are missing some really key and core starters in their defense. So that opens things up a little bit for the offense the offense to exploit the defense a little bit. Tet McMillan, you are going to start for sure. You are going to trust in Tet. Rico Dowdle, regardless of matchup, you are also going to start because he is just great. Yes, he had a down week. Yes, he was human. I think they're going to incorporate him more in the passing game like we've seen in the past in this particular matchup as well. Because Bryce Young had a great week does not mean you are immediately putting Bryce Young into your lineup. But I think I mentioned it earlier, take a risk on a Bryce Young over a Trevor Lawrence, even a JJ McCarthy at this point, because Bryce Young just feels a little bit like he's getting his stride while those guys are kind of falling off the wagon a little bit. Xavier Legette was this guy we were talking about. He kind of went away. He had a better game this past week. I am kind of on the fence with him because the matchup isn't too bad for him, but I don't think he's going to do great things. I'm going to say you sit him. I would probably go with a Yoshiva over Yoshiva against a Legette because of the opportunities he's going to get. He's much lower in rankings, let's say, than Legette, but I have a little bit more trust in him there. Chuba Hubbard is a full sit here. Rico is the man in the backfield with 83% of snaps, and there's really no tight end to discuss for the Panthers here. So nothing, and I'm sitting the defense as well. On to the 49ers side. I'm going to confidently start Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy showed really great things. He found his targets. He has weapons. He has targets. I'm going to trust him. Obviously, you're starting CMC. Obviously, you're trusting George Kittle. Really no-brainers there. When it comes to wide receivers, we have Ricky Pearsall, Ricky Dickey. Amanda hasn't got to say Ricky Dickey ding dong in a while.
Ricky Dickey really
dicked all over. Man. So it was his first game back. So maybe you give him a little bit of leeway.
Kittle did goose egg us, and at least Ricky Dickey had 1 point in his showing.
Right. He had 1 point. He said, guys, 1 point. And he and Juwan Jennings had 75% of snaps. So it's not like he didn't have anything that was thrown to him. Like, he had some relevance in the game. If I had to pick between the two in this matchup, I would lean toward Jennings just because Pearsall's still coming back, still getting his kind of groove back, as we would say, against this matchup. And then I would start the 49ers defense, and they are a streaming option if you don't have them already. Will the Panthers show the passing ability of last week? It's tough to predict, but we shall see.
We shall see. I know Bryce Young's I want him to do well. He's just been so unpredictable.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, friends, that is all of our week 12 matchups. We are, week 12, 13, 14. We are 3 weeks away from the playoffs. Most people's NFL or fantasy football playoffs start week 15. I did a full in-depth playoff outlook for our Patreon members. So if you are in the running for the Patreon and you want to go look at that, I talked about highlighting players who have really good playoff matchup and schedules. That way you can either try to acquire those guys or make sure you hold on to them or play them when playoffs comes. I also just talked about the logistics of how playoff works and what you should be doing and all of that kind of good stuff too. So if you haven't checked that out and you aren't a member of the Patreon, you can join below and take a look at that. I filmed a big ass video for you guys.
Yeah. And ladies, that is your key. That is your key right there to getting that leg up and getting into those playoffs and beating those dudes, right? Hearing from us what we would do, how we would tweak our rosters. Amanda's got you covered there.
Agreed. All right. Well, let's get into our favorite segment, our sweet and spicy starts of the week. Ange, kick us off with your sweet start of the week.
My sweet start of the week is AJ Brown. So I have this secret deep hope that all the guys out there heard him say, if you have me in fantasy, you should drop me. And they were like, okay, AJ. And they believed him, right? And they were like, okay. And then he's just out on waiver wire somewhere, which would be epic. But he saw much more production this week, 11 targets in week 11. He should have a cakewalk against this Cowboys defense. So put him in solidly and trust him in this matchup.
Agreed. I would say the finally one time men actually listened and it's when another man talked and they dropped AJ Brown. I'm like, I would never.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm like, get out of here with your shit. Okay. You need a detailed list of what to do around the fucking house, but you listen to AJ Brown from his Twitch stream, get the fuck out of here. I'm out. I can't hang.
They were like, yes, AJ, we will listen to you.
Dishes for 3 fucking weeks, but you listen to AJ Brown ranting to his friend. Got message made loud and clear. All right. My sweet start of the week. Trey McBride. With Marv likely missing more time due to his last-minute appendectomy, which is so unfortunate. Trey is that guy. He's always that guy, even if Marv plays, but more targets, more opportunities, a quarterback who's not scared to fucking throw the football, who can see over his O-line. We love us. Some Trey. I'm just going to shit.
A tall quarterback, yes.
A normal height quarterback. I'm just going to shit on Kyler Murray. Sorry, Kyler. All right. What about your spicy start of the week?
My spicy start would be Bryce Young facing a 49ers defense who surrendered 452 yards to Jacoby Brissett. If we see...
Sorry, what's his name?
Oh, Jacoby the Donk Brissett. I'm sorry.
The Donk!
The donk. But Bryce Young's newfound confidence should continue into this week. If he can have anything like last week's game, he's on fire. Spicy start of the week.
I love it. All right, my spicy start is Yoshi Yoshiba.
Oh, we've said that name so much.
Said it so many times. I was so excited to say it again. So Yoshi Yoshibash is my start of the week. He's wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals because Jamar Chase decided to spat on another human.
Jamar.
That elevates his role in the offense. It's a good-ass week. T's going to get some good-ass coverage. I think that's going to open up the pass game. Old man Joe Flacco's going to have to throw the ball to other people. He's been throwing good balls, so I'm here for it. That's my spicy start of the week.
Maybe he's just going to throw so much, his arm just falls off, and he's like, well, I was out anyways. I'm done, boys.
Now I'm done. I
they
really
put his
don't
arm in the
play.
Hall of Fame.
It'll be a very
about their way.
In the Hall of Fame. It was very Calvin Ridley-esque. Like, break my leg. I'm done. Guys, I don't want to play for you. I'm done. I'm out.
Or like when Tyreek Hill was on the cart, like kind of like, okay, this is not bad. Okay.
Bye, guys. No, I feel you. All right, guys, that is our week 12 matchup podcast. We are done for the week. Hopefully you are in the runnings to make your playoffs. It's not, it's do or die, guys. Don't be scared to make the moves. Put the players in. Trust your fucking gut. And when in doubt, ask questions. We're always here. You can comment under YouTube's, on Spotify, on social media. We are at Let's Talk Football Sis. We attempt to get back to as many comments as possible. We thank you guys for the support, and we will see you next week.
See you in week 13.
Jacoby the donkey. Where'd you get donkey?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I changed his name. Let's try it again, and I'll say donk. Okay. I don't know why I did this.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I
want to rip people's fucking fingers off every time they do it. I'm like, what are you doing? They change their voice inflection to it's like, yeah.
Like,
I'm like, get it.